Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Also a bit of a slow day, and again here just to highlight it for the benefit of new viewers, because I don't want to repeat all the scenarios in every video, but just looking at the short term here in this video, because not much happened for the last few days really. So we're looking still at a possible ABC correction of the 16th of February highs. Price coming down, ideally going to hit around 1480. That would be my absolute preference. I have to say as well that for this fourth wave and the wave degree, it takes a little bit long now. Yeah, it's starting to take a little bit long. Not necessarily too long yet, but I'm starting to consider, if it takes much longer, this sideways movement in this upward sloping channel, eventually we have to give maybe preference to a direct breakout to the upside. Yeah, so when it gets out of proportion with the length of wave 2, then it's starting to get a bit strange. I think it's just about still okay, but it should start to move shortly to the downside. If it doesn't, then I would be leaning more towards the upside. At the moment, again, just keep in mind, primary expectation would still be down, but I could very well be wrong here. That's, from a technical point of view, why I started to scale into BTC and ETH already, and several altcoins. And I do always highlight that on Discord and Telegram when I do that, because it could very well start to move up. I start to see some bullishness coming around the altcoin market. We've seen that today. Some of them have done really well. We see initial reactions to our support areas. For many, I still expect one more low, but I would never necessarily wait for the last low, never try to pick the last low, the absolute last low. So for me, it's all about scaling, and especially in this current situation that we have here, always need to consider what is the best strategy in the current environment. Of course, there will be a lot of people who are scalping this range. That's not really my strategy. Of course, valid as well. It's always also a question of the time frame, right? What time frame are you trading? But either way, still expect primarily one more low to complete this C wave. If, however, we break above that 1600 level, 1601, and sustain there, that's a strong signal. That will be our signal level that a low has been made. Yeah, and then we will have next resistance around 1670. It's quite an important level. And then around the 16th of February highs, which is around 1730. And then if we break that, it would unlock prices all the way up to $2,000, maybe even more, but we're not there yet. So at the moment, I'm looking at this as a corrective move to the downside. We can zoom in because we just might need to look into this triangle again. Highlighted to you in the previous video, we could be looking at a triangle here. And I think we do. I think we had the C wave here. Always be aware that triangles can extend out a little bit. And until you get a break below the B wave low, or beyond the B wave low, in this case it would be a break below 1551, we don't have a confirmation the triangle is broken. It could very well be something different, but it starts to look a little bit like a triangle. Yeah, I can count ABC here in wave A. I can count a corrective move in the B wave, but I have to admit it's a bit dodgy. Yeah, but you can get away with it. A, B, C. Yeah. Sometimes you see very much distortions on the lower time frames, especially in the crypto market. So I would never be, don't be too fixed on the lower level wave count, but a lot of people like to see it for educational purposes as well. Very important to highlight that in such a triangle, the D wave has to be above the B wave. Yeah? So we must not break below the B wave low in a D wave. If we do that, then we're most likely going down already. Yeah, and the C wave needs to stay below the A wave high, and the E wave needs always to stay below the C wave high in this form of a triangle, in a contracting triangle. Yeah, the E wave might or must never go beyond the C wave. Okay, but this is just the academics of counting. Yeah, it's all about making money, right? So instead of being 100% correct with the count and trying to figure out, is the A wave here, is the C wave here, it's all about making some money. So that's why it's all about the tactics of trading. Yeah, and when you are in this sideways range, you generally expect one more low here at least. I would say triangles typically are the move before the very last move of a cycle. So it would indicate that we get here one more low. I mean, it could be 2 more lows as well. Then we would have a 4-5-4-5 session. Yeah, and then I would have to find another way to put a 1-2 setup in here. It's possible. But for me, this is actually the more likely count on the ETH chart. Only 1 more low. And if we get 1 more low, then yeah, this here would be the last move before the very last wave of that C wave cycle. And then we could turn around. Yeah, around 1480. That would be my ideal target. But we'll see, you know. We'll see. Important to highlight is that this can also stop at the first fib level of this range. We talked about the round about the 1490 level would be the very first one I'd be looking at. Then we've got 1480, 1417, and 1409. And in this area, I've just randomly added some buy orders to be able to scale in and to trade upside should it occur and should this support area hold. Below $1,400, however, I think we're looking at a much stronger decline. We will have a lot of support in this region around 1480. We've got 2 fib levels there, yeah, and we've got here the previous wave 4 low. So I do expect strong support there. But first of all, we need to make that low. And if we break above 1601, we can go higher already. So as I said, it's a very clear message. Short term, 1 more low expected. Again, I could be wrong. It's important to understand that. Sometimes you just don't get this last low. That's why the tactics are so important, in my opinion. But either way, I would expect some kind of a reaction to this support area and further upside from here. Yeah, at some point. Probably first lower and then higher would be my preference. Going below 1400 is, of course, a possibility. Just note that if we do that, this setup is failing and we're probably going to go down straight away. We will then have to answer the question. It's always, as long as a certain condition holds, as long as a certain condition holds and is fulfilled, then we can look at the current setup. If that condition fails and breaks and disappears, is not fulfilled basically, then we're looking at the next scenario. The next scenario would be the question, do we continue with a bear market already, or are we going to hold this wave too low? So this is going to be the next question, because if we break below the $1,400 level, I have to consider that we're either already in the wave 2, and we might make the wave 2 without any stronger upside before we come down, or if we continue with the bear market directly, if we had an impulse to the downside. That's a question that will then have to be answered. Until then, the current count and setup is valid and primary. Okay, that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.